Okay, and we talked about the spine line here, which is actually this same line. And I'll tell you how this works. And a lot of people ask us, they say, well, what's the spine got to do with hand reading or palm reading? Why does it even matter? Well, I'll tell you, when you've got issues in that spine, it makes it to a point where sometimes you just don't feel well. You're not 100%. And it makes all the difference in the world about how everything goes in your day, if you feel well or if you don't feel well. Kat was getting her master's degree in health education, and she ran across a Palmistry book called Medical Hand Reading. And this was written by a Dr. Eugene Scheiman back in the 60s. And he talks in there about how your spine actually shows in your hand. And if you have any anomalies in there, in that spine, that'll be reflected in this hand. And how that works is as we take a look at this line here, it's kind of broken up in sections. And this little section right here, if we draw a line down between that index and that middle finger, this is your cervical spine right here. And let's pull up that image that we've got here. Your cervical spine right here. Then, as we go from this section here, and we draw a line down here, that is your thoracic spine. And then your lumbar, and then down into the sacrum and coccyx, down underneath this little finger here. So, and what we're looking for is little islands or little triangles. And what those show is misalignments, or even if you have damage or anything. Let's see, in your information here, oh, you didn't say if you had any damage in that spine or not. But you definitely have some little misalignments in there. Let's pull up that chart. So what we'd seen in that hand looks like that 1C, actually all the way down through that whole neck area. Looks like you're kind of turned out of place there. You have some misalignments. Like I say, get back to us. You didn't say if you had any damage or not, or any thing like scoliosis or anything in that spine. But that kind of goes all the way down there. That 1 and 2T right there below the neck shows some issues there. Then that 3T to 6T, that's kind of right there between the shoulder blades. Looks like those are twisted out. And a lot of times when this upper part's twisted out, it'll go down through and it'll twist out these different vertebrae, even especially down in that hip region. It looks like you got something down in that hip region going on, down into that lower back, and then down into that lumbar region. Then if you go over to the right, you'll see the areas column on this chart. And I'll show you the parts of the body that are affected when you've got some misalignments or you got some issues in that spine. Then of course the effects all the way over to the right will show you what kind of symptoms that you can have. And I know that earlier we talked about that heart line. Some little, we'd seen some little triangles underneath there. And a little bit of fussiness right here. And those can definitely be exacerbated when you've got that spine out of whack a little bit, out of alignment. In that 2T area, that can cause a little bit of chronic fatigue, a little bit of anxiety. And then we had seen on that headline there, where it dipped down a little bit, we'd seen the fussiness up front here, and then where that had dipped down. And when we see that, that generally indicates some anxiety, and sometimes even a little bit of depression. It can really exacerbate that too, especially if you have this 1C, 7C, and 2T out at the same time. That can really exacerbate that anxiety. It really kind of fires that up. So you can look around the chart here, and see if you have any of these symptoms, and that'll kind of show you where those are at. Kind of all the way down through that spine. There's a few vertebrae that looks like they're not quite affected. And when we see this, I'll tell you what we usually suggest is to get into a good chiropractor, or even better yet, a good physical therapist. See if they can't get that spine aligned there, get that energy flowing down through there correctly. Especially where you have that 1 and 2C out of place. You want to find somebody that knows craniosacral work. What they'll do is they'll go into the roof of the mouth and they'll actually adjust those little plates right there in the roof of the mouth. That kind of breaks loose that energy to flow down through that spine correctly. You just won't believe how much better you feel when you get this taken care of. We've had a lot of people with their charts that they take into the chiropractor or their doctors, and after they've done x-rays or they've kind of spotted where they've got issues there, how accurate these charts are.